During the height of China's war of resistance against Japanese aggression, a road was carved out across soaring rivers and towering peaks. Traveling from India to Kunming in southern China meant the difference between life and death for a country whose fate was hanging by a thread.
There you go, enjoy. Candy from the future.
It bears the name of General Joseph Stilwell, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. forces in the China-Burma-India theater. 8 decades later, peace has given the road a different destiny. Quiet, perhaps, but not forgotten. On the 80th anniversary of its completion, the descendants of General Stilwell returned to China to retrace a road built through hardship and to discover what it still means today. For General Stilwell's descendants, this almost feels like homecoming. Over the years, they've visited China again and again. This time, they're at the Stilwell Research Center in Chongqing to unveil a full-size bronze statue. It's his great-granddaughter Nancy Millward's 7th time to China. Even her own children have visited twice.
It was very eye-opening for them at a young age to recognize that this entire country knows who General Stilwell is and respects him and still remembers what he did almost 100 years ago.
From Chongqing, the Stilwell family sets off to retrace the road their ancestor once helped build. In late 1942, construction began at the small town of Lido in Assam, India, under General Stilwell's direct command. From there, it would snake eastward across the Pat Kite Mountains through the jungles of northern Burma, now modern-day Myanmar, and on into the mountains of Yunnan. It would remain China's only lifeline until the war ended in 1945. From the west, the Lido Road was carved out by American engineers and soldiers driving bulldozers. From the east, the China-Burma Road was dug out by Chinese women, the elderly, and children with almost no machinery. Across India and Burma, thousands of local civilians also joined the effort.
Some historians said it was like the workers were digging this road using their fingernails.
Yes.
I mean, it's an allegory, but just thinking about the primitive tools and the effort and the terrible weather. Must have been really difficult to build this road, just bit by bit, 1 meter at a time. It's really an amazing feat of engineering.
In museums in Yunnan province, stone rollers like this one, used by Chinese workers, were passed down as a symbol of the struggle.
它很重，上坡的时候还好，大家往上拉就是费力一点，但是下坡的时候，一旦它滚下来，经常就是砸死几十个人。
Eventually, 1,133 American soldiers lost their lives building the road. For China, the toll was even greater. There was no way to count precisely, but the number is believed to have been at least 3,000, and likely far more. Countless Burmese and Indian civilian builders also sacrificed their lives for the road. They died in blasting accidents, in landslides and river crossings, buried under earth and stone, or from malaria and exhaustion. So heavy was the sacrifice that American engineers called it the road where a man fell for every mile. And that's just building the road. To keep it alive, Chinese and Allied forces fought fierce battles across western Yunnan, clearing the way for the two halves of the road to meet. The memory of that sacrifice is kept in cemeteries in historic battlegrounds like Songshan. Stone statues stand guard, and shoulder by shoulder with them is the figure of General Stilwell.
He had great admiration for the Chinese soldiers. I think he realized when he arrived here that if they just had a little bit of training, a little bit of leadership, the proper equipment, good medical supplies, they could be as good as any of the Allied soldiers.
For Stilwell's descendants, visiting these cemeteries is to see, carved in stone, the cost of the road they now retrace.
All these memorials set up in his honor to keep his story alive and to continue his legacy. I'm just deeply moved and touched at the amount of respect that you all have for my great-grandfather. It's just a beautiful story of mutual love, respect, and cooperation, and just gives us so much hope for the future.
In Tengchong, the war left its deepest scars and its most enduring memories. The family visits the memorial cemetery where thousands of Chinese soldiers rest. Side by side with them are 19 Americans. For the Stilwell family, it is here that memory takes on its most personal form.
My father was part of a group of folks that worked on the Tengchong 19. Tengchong had a memorial stone, and it had the name of only one American. And so a group of people got together to try and figure out who are all these Americans that are buried here. And so my dad helped with that effort in order to find the names, and he ended up helping to find 19 Americans that were buried there. And so ever since they've discovered those names, they've created memorial stones for all those 19 soldiers that were killed there. I really am excited to bring my children there for them to see that and to recognize that China really never does forget a friend.
In January 1945, after nearly 3 years of isolation, the Lido Road and the China-Burma Road finally connected. The first convoys rolled. More than 100 trucks crossed from India into China, bringing supplies the country had long awaited. To honor the man who championed the road, it was later named the Stilwell Road.
史迪威公路诞生于世界反法西斯战争的烽火之中，是中美英等同盟国为了共同目标付出巨大牺牲打通的生命线。它见证了战争的残酷，也见证了国际社会携手抗击侵略者的勇气与决心，成为国家之间友谊的桥梁。
And today, it's that friendship which Stilwell's descendants carry forward, across oceans and across generations. In 1982, his family and supporters created the Stilwell Scholarship, funding students from China to study at the Middlebury Institute in the United States. Huang Kai-meng was one of the first recipients of the scholarship.
史迪威将军奖学金嘛，它设在这个学校，已经40多年了。它应该说是改变了很多拿到这个奖学金的学生的命运，包括我自己。这个奖学金是史迪威将军的大女儿和他的小女儿2个人一起联合设立的。他们的初衷就是为了帮助中国和美国之间进行民间的教育啊这些交流。当时史迪威将军的大女儿就邀请我住在他家，跟他生活在一起，就点点滴滴受他的言传身教。在他去世之后呢，我呢一个是加入了史迪威奖学金基金会，从那时候起呢，我又跟他的儿子，也就是史迪威将军的外孙一家，又开始建立很深的这个关系和这个友情。
In 2023, General Stilwell's grandson, John Easterbrook, wrote to Chinese President Xi Jinping, sharing the story of that connection. President Xi replied, saying he felt the warmth of the American people through the Stilwell family and recalling how China and the U.S. once fought side by side for peace.
I have great pride in my family and the legacy that General Stilwell started so many years ago, and all of the work that both my grandmother and my father have done over the years. And it's truly our honor to be able to create these friendships and these relationships. I hope that my children see that and recognize that that's how life is. You make connections with people and you build these bonds and you bridge these gaps, and it helps to bring both of our countries closer together.
Today, as the fourth and fifth generations of General Stilwell's descendants again set foot on these roads, they're retracing more than a line on the map. They're remembering the sacrifice and faith that made it possible.
Dennis was here.
Faith that allies could stand together and that the future would hold more than the darkness of war.
And it is written that he had a great admiration for the Chinese people, and he saw the potential of this great country. And look what it's become today. He was a visionary. Maybe he traveled into the future already and went back and said, you have a great future ahead of you, and this is how we do it.
On September the 3rd, 2025, the two Stilwell great-granddaughters were invited as special guests at China's V-Day parade in Tiananmen Square, a rare honor underscoring the regard China holds for the Stilwell family.
I was thinking that the entire time I was watching the parade. It was such a magnificent display of national pride for China, and I was so honored to be there as an American to be able to witness that. And I think that General Stilwell, given how much he admired the Chinese soldiers and knew that they were capable of doing so much, to be able to see the military now, I think he would be so pleased.
On historic battlegrounds, General Stilwell's great-great-grandchildren and their Chinese peers are kicking off a new generation of exchange.
I haven't seen any of the Chinese kids play, so I don't know, but I can do my own thing, you know? I don't know if I'll win, but it will be a good battle. So far, it's been amazing. China's very beautiful, definitely different from America, but very unique and awesome. I would like to live here.
Where their ancestors fought side by side, they're now playing shoulder to shoulder, with the same spirit of courage, respect, and friendship.
Showing our children the bonds that he made with the Chinese people is really important for them to learn their place in the world and their understanding of other people around them. I think both countries will have their challenges moving forward, and we don't always see eye to eye, at least in terms of our leadership, but I do think that there's a lot of space for creating collaboration. I think the more interactions that we can have on a people-to-people basis will definitely help with that.
民相亲在于心相近，心相近在于情相通，情相通需要我们常走动。希望我们中美两国民间能够加强交往，更多的为维护世界和平做出我们的努力。
8 decades on, the Stilwell Road endures. Not as a relic of the war, but as a reminder of a history shared and remembered across time and space.